All right, on today's video tour of the Dan's Fish Warehouse, I want to show you fish that glow, fish that are super bright, fish that will just be shiny from across the room, fish that will grab your attention from 20 feet away. And we're going to start with these. These are rainbow shiners. I'm going to feed them some extreme monster pellets here because then they'll all get in a big group and we can see them. But this is why people love rainbow shiners. You see that beautiful blue shiny iridescence on them? The males have that all the time once they hit maturity. They're just an absolutely stunning fish. And then every morning they turn hot pink, which is what we're seeing right now. So they have that nice blue flecking on them even when they're not in breeding mode. But then every morning for a couple hours, they'll go into breeding mode and they'll turn hot pink. So you get this hot pink fish with blue flecking on it, this blue bright iridescent flecking. And it is just absolutely a stunning fish. It's fire in the water. So people that have bought this fish and haven't seen it color up yet, just be patient. Give them a little time. Once they mature, and they color up and they start spawning, they're absolutely stunning. But even if they didn't spawn, even if they didn't go into this hot pink mode, just the fish itself with that blue iridescence all over it is absolutely stunning. So you think they're awesome, you think they're beautiful, and then they go into beast mode and turn hot pink. And that's when they absolutely blow people's minds. So rainbow shiners are an awesome fish. They will get your attention from across the room, even when they're not in spawning colors. But then when they go into spawning colors, like we're seeing about half of them are right here today, then you get this bonus. Just a true rainbow. Rainbow shiner is a good name for these guys. They're so into spawning, they didn't eat the food at all, did they? Oh well, they will. They will when they're done. They have other things on their mind. All right, what I want to do now is take you down and show you the different kinds, backing up here, beep, 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 the different kinds of tetras that we have that glow. One of the things we love about tetras is how shiny some of them are. And I want to show you the different varieties. There's all kinds of different, like cardinal tetras and neon tetras and stuff. And then we'll get into other fish beyond that too. We're not just gonna look at cardinal tetras and their relatives, but I wanna show you the difference between each variety so you can know what you're getting if you order some. So let's start with these. These are the classic Cardinal Tetra. There's a reason why we're feeding these the Aquarium Co-op, the floating community pellet. I like it, it's a great size. The fish seem to take it really well, and it floats for a long time, which is nice. Eventually it sinks, which is also nice because I like to feed it to shrimp and stuff. But what I like about it is it doesn't cloud up the water. It's really water stable, so that's why I like this food. That's why I'm feeding it. But Cardinal Tetras are an absolutely stunning fish. Now, they're not super rare. So a lot of us have maybe become a little bit jaded on Cardinal Tetras or the different kinds of neon tetras and what have you, just because we see them all the time. But imagine if you'd never seen this fish before. You'd never seen a glowing fish, a bright, iridescent, glowing blue stripe with red under it before. And suddenly this showed up. Like, I would pay any amount of money. I mean, these are that pretty. Just glow from across the room. And they're very common, but what's not common is to get them healthy. Cardinal Tetras are often not treated correctly in the supply chain. Here at Dan's Fish, we've narrowed it down to just a very few suppliers who actually care for the fish well along the supply chain, and so they're treated more humanely. They aren't just, they aren't crowded. They aren't exposed to high levels of ammonia during transit and all those things which happen on the normal supply chain. And then when they go in the pet stores, They're pretty worn down. They don't look like it because, you know, fish are very asymptomatic, but they're pretty worn down. And then you buy them, and within a week or two, often they aren't doing so hot. What we're trying to do at Dan's Fish is make sure that the fish that we send you are super healthy. And that starts with how we source the fish, and then the fish go through a 2-week quarantine period. We have a diagnostic lab here in-house where we check their health and everything. When we send the fish to you, we do it very carefully. Each fish is in its own little, its own bag. We call it a traveling pod, and they're cared for really well. So if you've tried, the reason I'm going on this spiel is there's a lot of people that love Cardinal Tetras and want to keep them and have simply given up because they're buying them on the normal supply chain, and those fish often don't do well. So what I want to say is, if you've tried Cardinal Tetras or any of the fish we're going to show you today, but especially Cardinal Tetras, and you like them and you want to keep them, but you've given up because they just don't live for you, it's not you, it's the supply chain. Once these are settled in and acclimated, and if they've been treated properly, they're actually a pretty hardy fish. And they get impressive. These guys get about 1.5 inches. I've seen real monsters up around more like 2 inches. I don't think that's normal. That's probably an exception. But a big school of these in an aquarium, my favorite way to keep these is in a large aquarium, like a 75-gallon, a 55-gallon, or, you know, like a 125-gallon, and a large school of them. So you have a big tank, you have a lot of these fish in there, but since it's a big tank, there's negative space, right? There's space that the fish don't take up, and so they can form this school and kind of go around the aquarium as a group, and they'll do that more in large tanks. And that's when I think they're at their very, very best. But even in a 20-gallon, a group of these is absolutely stunning. So one of the best fish ever. We're kind of jaded on it. Often people have given up on it. And I just want to tell you, we have healthy ones, and we guarantee them. If you get any of our fish and they don't do well for you, we will refund you for the fish, and we'll also refund you for the cost of shipping the fish. So you will be out $0. That's how confident we are that these will thrive for you. Anyway, I'm going to go around to the other side of the warehouse and show you some other species of closely related tetras like this one. There's a whole group of fish like this: the Cardinal Tetras, the Neon Tetras, the green Neon Tetras, and there are some variants that have been bred in aquariums that are pretty cool too. So I want to show you the difference. Okay, so on those Cardinal Tetras, the red on them goes completely across the body, the bottom of the body. On Neon Tetras like these, let's get these guys some food. There's a couple of differences. One is that the red on the body goes halfway across the fish, right? The front half of the bottom of the fish under that blue stripe is a whitish color. And then the back half underneath the blue stripe is a reddish color. Well, it's not a reddish color, it's a nice bright red color. So that's the main difference when it comes to color. The other difference is the blue stripe on the Cardinal Tetras extends longer down the body. And Neon Tetras at maturity tend to be a little deeper bodied, so a little higher from the front, from the top of the spine down to the belly, a little more distance there. They're a little deeper, I guess, is how I would put it. But still a very pretty fish, one that absolutely glows from across the room, and one that blew my mind. This is one of the reasons I got into aquarium fish. I remember when I was a kid, I might have been 4 or 5 years old. This is a very early memory for me. We went to this Kmart shopping center, like a strip mall kind of thing, to go shopping. And there was a pet store in that strip mall in Placerville, California, called Prospector's Pets, owned by a guy named Gary. And I remember, this is how much fish, this is how impressionable I am by fish. I remember all these weird details from early on. And every time we went to Kmart to shop, before Kmart went bankrupt, this is back in the day, this is before cell phones, all you young whippersnappers, I would beg my mom to go into the shop, and she usually wouldn't let me because she's usually in a hurry and all that stuff. But every now and then we would stop in the shop. And one time we stopped and there was a tank of neon tetras on the bottom corner. And I remember the absolute awe as a child seeing these fish that glowed. Simple neon tetras, right? Kind of ho-hum, like we've all seen them a million times, all that stuff. But don't let their commonality dissuade you from their absolute beauty. These are a beautiful fish, and they're quite hardy. Generally less expensive than Cardinal Tetras, and bred in large numbers by the aquarium fish industry. So anyway, that impression as a 4 or 5 year old, it kind of got in my soul. And then when I was 13 and really got into fish, that's one of the reasons I ended up getting into them, because of that impression that stuck with me and kind of, I don't know, I've been fascinated with fish ever since. Okay, let's go on and show you another type of neon tetra. These are the diamond head neon tetras. Let's get some Aquarium Co-op easy community floating food and put it in here. And they look awesome. They're an absolutely stunning little fishy. What I like about them is from the top, they look really nice. Kind of like, they remind me kind of like rice fish in that way. So they look good in any aquarium, but I would really recommend if you have an aquarium that's down towards the bottom of your fish room, it's on the bottom shelf, or that you can look it kind of below your eye level a little bit. That's the tank I would put these in, because that light will catch that diamond and on their head, I guess, and it'll just pop. So another really cool neon tetra type, the diamond head neon tetra. I want to show you these too. These are not a tetra, but we'll show you the green neon tetra in a second, so you can see the difference on those. So these are the electric blue Acara. Now, the regular blue Acara has been a favorite in the aquarium industry for a long time, because it's hardy, it's beautiful, it doesn't get too big, it's not as aggressive as a lot of cichlids. And then a few years ago, they came out with this, which is the electric blue version. These are young, they're starting to get the electric blue on them. They don't have it really fully yet. As adults, these are like bright electric blue. And they have a red stripe, a red edging on their dorsal fin as well. And they're one that the light catches those scales, especially as adults, and it flings that light across the room into your eyeballs, and you can't help but just be absolutely struck by them. A group of adults of these is just an absolutely stunning fish. Now, these are hobbyist bred and raised. Thank you, Heather. You produce amazing fish. These are hobbyist bred and raised by a lady here in the United States, and they're fantastically healthy and doing great for us. So if you want a cichlid that doesn't get too big, is peaceful and absolutely shines, this is not a bad one to get. Easy to keep, easy to feed, easy to breed. In fact, there are areas of the nation where the fish clubs are so inundated by these that if you only rely on fish clubs to get rid of them, you just can't, because everyone in the fish club has kept them and they bred for everybody. That's how easy they are to breed and raise. And now, now no one else in the club needs any. So that's how hardy and easy they are. Electric blue Acaras, really amazing fish. Okay, so let's go down here and I'm going to show you some green neon tetras. They're different than the normal neon tetras, the diamond heads and the Cardinal Tetras. And this is them. Let's get them a little food here. And I gotta scoot back the ladder here. I gotta get more food. They want more, I think. Okay. All right. So here they are. This is a different species. I think it's Simulus. I'd have to look I don't remember exactly how to pronounce it, but it's very similar to a neon tetra or a cardinal tetra. Different species though. And the difference is the stripe on them, although in some light it looks fairly blue, in other light it looks more green than you have on a neon tetra or a cardinal tetra. It depends on the angle, but I would say it's more green. And that's the main focus, because while they do have some red on them, it's less pronounced. So that iridescent greenish stripe kind of becomes a focal point. Another absolutely beautiful fish. All these neon tetra and cardinal tetra types, I think, are like perfect aquarium fish. They're not too big, they're not super aggressive, they're absolutely stunning. And if they're sourced correctly and quarantined and cared for correctly, they're actually really hardy in my experience. Now, the thing they don't do well with is ammonia. These, especially the cardinal tetras, and these green neons as well, don't like ammonia at all. The cardinals come from very black water environments. Those are acidic, and in acidic water you do not have ammonia, because in those environments ammonia reacts to the acid and is converted to ammonium, which is not very toxic at all. So they don't have any like hardiness or tolerance for ammonia. So what that means is you don't want to keep these cardinal tetras and neon tetra types in tanks that aren't well established. If your nitrifying bacteria colony is not mature, and if you're going to experience ammonia or nitrite spikes in that tank because it's brand new and just getting going, I would wait. But once you have a nice mature seasoned aquarium, then I think these are great. I think they're just as hardy as many of the other fish we keep in aquariums. But this is the green neon tetra. All right. Now we also have an albino cardinal tetra. There's an albino version. If that's your thing, some people really like those. But what I want to show you next is one that I think is a great option for someone that wants a hardy fish that's beautiful and pretty much bulletproof. And it's this. This is the gold white cloud mountain minnow. These are one of the coolest stories in the aquarium fish world, because this was a common aquarium fish. It used to be called the poor man's neon tetra, because they have like a neon stripe across their side, especially the non-gold forms. And at the time, neon tetras were really expensive. But we'd had white cloud mountain minnows in the hobby for forever. They come from China. They're a more temperate species, so they didn't mind the temperature swings we have in the United States. And back in the day, before you had good aquarium equipment, good heaters and filters and stuff, you could keep these successfully. So they early on became a really, really popular fish in the aquarium hobby. And so they were bred by the millions and millions by the aquarium fish industry. And it's a good thing too, because their natural habitat got decimated. And for a long time, these were considered extinct in the wild for decades. And so this is a real success story where the aquarium industry actually helped preserve a species whose habitat was destroyed in the wild. And that actually happens more than you think. So there's a lot of people that, I don't know, think the aquarium industry is bad for fish or somehow depletes populations. And the truth is, in some cases, it actually preserves species. And in many cases, like Project Piaba, where we get our cardinal tetras and a lot of rummy nose and stuff come from for the aquarium industry, that helps preserve habitat. And I'll go into that another time. I've ranted on that in many other videos, so I won't do that here. But I wouldn't be doing this. I wouldn't keep aquarium fish if I thought that it was actually harmful to them, to their environment. There was a net negative, I guess. I think keeping aquarium fish is a net positive, both for the fish and for us. Anyway, I'll get off that weird spiel I went on. Not sure why I went on that stream of consciousness, I guess. But anyway, these are a beautiful fish. They do great in aquariums. And they also do great in ponds, like patio ponds, because they can live under ice, and they can take some heat. So, you know, if you're in the United States, then you're going to experience wide swings of temperature. And so these can do that. Now, I wouldn't put them under ice purposely. I think once they get down below about 45, 40 degrees, they might start getting a little uncomfortable, but they're very, very hardy fish is my point. And why I like the gold form is, we're talking about fish that glow here, fish that really shine, fish that catch your eye from across the room, is in a patio pond, you actually see these. A lot of fish you put in a pond and they disappear because they're kind of dark on the dorsal surface, because fish don't want to get eaten by kingfishers and other predatory birds. And so their dorsal surface, their upper surface, is usually meant to blend in with what's below them. So you put most fish in a patio pond and they disappear, but these bright gold ones, they absolutely glow. Okay, another fish that glows is this. And I'm gonna put some extreme monster pellets in here to see if I can get them to glow. These are Melanotaenia boesemani. These are the ones from Aves Creek. These will turn almost black and bright orange as they mature and color in. And the reason I'm including them in this video about fish that glow is because even though they're not doing it now, I think I need to increase my brightness here. Hopefully that helps. They're not really doing it now, but they get this bright neon blaze from the tip of their mouth up to their dorsal fin when they display. And the reason I was feeding them here is because sometimes when they're fed, that can induce them to blaze up. And I want to show you that, but they're not doing it now. But if you've never seen a rainbow fish in all its glory displaying and pulsing that neon stripe up the top of it from its face up the top to the dorsal fin, they're quite a sight to see. And they really do shine. That's the reason. Well, a lot of them are very pretty even without that, but when they blaze up like that, then they just are mind-blowing. I can see a couple of them starting. If you look at the dorsal surface on a couple of them, you can see them kind of glowing a little bit, but it's not nearly as bright as they often get, especially when males are competing or trying to breed. So generally with rainbow fish, they fire up as soon as the lights come on, and then they might fire up again in the evening. And they fire up when you feed them, but they're not as bright as usual. So anyway, beautiful fish that glows when it's displaying especially, but since it's not doing it right now, we'll move on and show you some that do. Okay, so here's how I make videos. I got my cart here, got my extreme monster pellet, my magic small fish feed, and easy community floating pellets that I like to feed. Got my list of tanks that I'm gonna show you on the video. Got my water and a rag in case there's something on the front of the tank. So I got to trundle my cart over here. In the next tank, let me look up. If I don't do this, I get all unorganized and then I miss important stuff. Oh yeah, here's what I want to show you on this row. So these are not a fish, but they glow, they shine. These are a shrimp. These are the yellow shrimp, and they have this really, really bright blaze across the top. And that, not only is the yellow nice and bright and will catch your attention, but that super bright blaze that they get qualifies them, I think, to be in this video because they glow. They're very, very, very shiny. They're a Neocaridina species, so they're a color variant of, most of us are familiar with like the red cherry shrimp. This is the same species, just a different color. And they're just as hardy. They do fine in almost every water type. They don't mind hard alkaline water at all, and most of us in the United States have that. I've kept them in soft water as well. Super hardy, super easy fish. Shrimp. So if you want something to like add a different feel to your tank, a different vibe, a different, like I've got fish, what else? Well, these are cool. They crawl around, they graze on biofilm and algae and all that stuff. And it's just a different cadence in your aquarium, right? It's a different type of movement, different type of critter. So it adds some variety to a tank. So yellow shrimp, absolutely boom from across the room. Bright yellow with a bright glowing blaze across the top. Not bad at all. Okay, now I gotta turn around. For those of you that might be unfamiliar with the Dan's Fish Warehouse, we have currently 478 aquariums. Well, one tank broke, we have to replace it. So 477 aquariums, and they're all full of aquarium fish that we have for sale at dansfish.com. So if you see something you like, head on over and you can get it there. Okay, sorry if I'm so dark too. I had to turn off the lights in this warehouse, otherwise the glare is so strong that it's hard to see the fish when I try to make a video. And let me move my ladder here so I can get these on camera nicely. Okay. So these are an electric blue ram, but they're kind of a different electric blue ram. These are the balloon bodied ones. And I generally don't do a lot of balloon fish, but these guys I have found to be perfectly happy and perfectly healthy. And so I don't mind bringing them in. Hang on, I'm still not where I need to be to get them on camera well. I have to position my body to like try to block the glare so that we can see them better. So there's a few fish like this that I'll bring in. Not electric blue mollies, balloon mollies I found to be perfectly hardy and healthy. Electric blue balloon rams, or any balloon ram really, I found to be perfectly hardy and healthy. Where I draw the line is if the variant seems to make the fish's life bad. Like an example, I don't generally bring in like rose-tailed bettas because while they're beautiful, the tail is so enormous, so pleated, so heavy that it makes it so those fish have trouble swimming. And so I'm like, oh, the fish can't even swim right. I don't want to bring that in. But these guys, I think they're cute as a button. They seem hardy and happy and healthy. And so I don't mind them at all. And I think they're brilliant. Look how bright that blue is. Electric blue is an apt name for rams. Well, my camera died, so I was going on more about balloon fish and about these, and then I noticed. So you missed a little ranting, but that was probably long enough rant on those electric blue rams. So we're gonna move on to these. These are dwarf neon rainbow fish. And the water's just a little bit cloudy. I don't know if that's coming across on camera or not, because these just finished quarantine and they got a dose of medication last night. And so we're flushing that medication out of the water, but until it's flushed out, it's going to be a little bit cloudy. But anyway, we're talking about fish that are, excuse me, we're talking about fish that are shiny or that glow, that really catch your attention. And so I didn't think it'd be right to not include the dwarf neon rainbow fish, Melanotaenia praecox. These absolutely took the aquarium hobby by storm when they were introduced because they're so pretty. Now, these are young still. They don't have their full color, but you can already see the iridescent blue coming in on the males, and that the fins are lined by this beautiful red-orange color. And that iridescence is what makes them striking from, pardon me again, from across the room. And then you get closer and you see the red, and the combo is just awesome. Now, if that wasn't enough, as a rainbow fish, they will fire up. So they have this area kind of above their eyes that they'll turn on and off, and becomes really beautiful. So definitely a fish that qualifies as a glowy or bright or shiny fish that gets your attention. Now, the reason these caught the aquarium hobby by storm when they first became available, and why they're still probably the most popular of all the rainbow fish species. Now, boesemani might be up there, but probably these, is because they don't get big. It's a dwarf neon rainbow fish. A lot of rainbow fish just get, you know, they can get 5 to 8 inches, some of them. Is 8 an exaggeration? No, I think there's a few glossolepis that might get up to 8, but yeah, call it 5 to 7 so no one calls me a liar. They're big and they're active and they need a lot of space when they're that big and they're trying to swim around actively. This fish only gets around 3 inches or so. And so it is all the color and behavior you love in a rainbow fish, but in a like pint-sized package, right? In a manageable size. And so a lot of people can keep this fish that don't have the tank space, don't have a big enough aquarium to keep some of the other larger rainbow fish. So it's a really good option for a lot of people. Okay, I've got a couple catfish to show you. Yes, believe it or not, there are catfish that glow. Like most catfish you think of as kind of these ugly bottom dwellers, right? That slurp stuff. And that's true of a lot of them. I'm putting the food in there now. And I have no idea if they're going to come to it because fish get weird when there's a camera pointing at them. But these are gold laser Corydoras CW10s. And hopefully it's coming across on the camera that they have these bright gold neon stripes up on one on each side of the back there. They're just really, really pretty fish. So it's a catfish with color, which blew my mind when I first saw them because I'd seen Paleotis and Aeneas and Julie Corys, or false Julie Corys, I should say, and all of that. Oh, here they come. They're about to come up and eat. We can get a better look at them. I'm going to move the light a little bit. I have the light pushed all the way back, so I'm not going to be able to pick them up if they come to the front. So hopefully they'll come up to the food if we're just patient here for a moment. But anyway, I'd seen all those, but I'd never seen a Cory catfish that actually had what I would call color, like that caught my attention because of the color, until I first saw these. And then again, this is the theme of the day, they blew my mind. Like these kinds of fish, just these glowy fish, these fish that are just so gorgeous. That's how I describe them. They're mind-blowing. So look at this. It's a Corydoras catfish that has neon iridescence. Crazy, right? And by the way, they're just as hardy and easy, and in my experience, hardy and easy to keep as Aeneas or Paleotis. They're not delicate or anything. So you get what you love in Corys, which is a bunch of clowny behavior, very peaceful fish. They keep your substrate nice and turned over, which is great, especially if you have sand in your aquarium. And hang on, got an alarm here. That's the alarm, so I know to restart the big filter that powers our warehouse here, our water system. I had to do some maintenance on it this morning, and I had to let one of the big cisterns drain. So that's telling me it's done draining. So I can go continue with that project when I'm done making this video for you. But anyway, hardy, beautiful, all that stuff, and a lot of color. So I think they're absolutely great. Now, I'll show you another Cory that glows. Is a variant of that one that you almost never see. What I'm about to show you is a fish that's really rare, really hard to get. I've only been able to get them a few times. Now these are quite pricey, but here they are. This is the green laser Cory, the CW9. Oh, it would help if okay, this is a bright tank, so let me turn down the brightness here, and then we can probably see them better. So these have a bluish green to them, also some gold to them. It just depends on the light. And they don't necessarily show best on a blue tank like this, but you know, this is the tank we had, so this is what we put them in. But the green laser Cory, slightly different than the CW10. more of a greenish bluish color. And then there's also a red laser Cory. I don't have any at the moment. We just sold out about a week ago. But yeah, there's all these Corydoras, all these catfish that actually have really nice color. So here's another one of them. Okay. Now, what would this aquarium hobby be without guppies? Like, guppies are just a standard, right? And here is one that I really like. This is a brand new one. We've never had this one before. This is the Red Silverado Double Sword Guppy. This was bred and raised by a hobbyist here in the United States. Thank you, Mr. Downey. Appreciate it. The X means that they're going through quarantine, so they're still being treated. All the fish that we bring in get a certain cocktail, get examined, and then get medications and such. And so they're still in that process. They're not, and it's always at least 2 weeks, that process. These are almost done. So these will be ready within a week or so. But look at these bright glowing front halves on the body. These from a distance just pop. And then, so it's that nice glowing silver, and then you've got that red on the fins, which contrasts so nicely with them. Another stunning one. So there's, not all guppies glow, but there are a good number of them that do. They look great in aquariums, and they look great in ponds as well. Because in ponds, you know, you want the glowing top because you want to be able to see the fish. Okay, I think we're gonna call it. I've got some more fish I was gonna show you, but this has gone on a long time, this video, and so that's probably enough of a tour. But yeah, I just want to thank everybody for watching. Hopefully one reason I do these tours is I like to talk about fish. Obviously, my mouth can run when it comes to aquarium fish. It's just my passion. But also for our customers, I want you to be able to see what the fish look like that we have available for sale. You know, you're buying them online, you kind of just have to be like, well, hopefully they're good. Well, if I can show you in a video, you've got a better idea of what we're selling. So if you saw something you liked, they're at dansfish.com. And if you didn't, thanks for watching anyway. Hopefully you had a good time. And until next time, I hope you have a good one. Bye-bye.